Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television GPTV. I'm Brett. In my hands is Science Comics Whales, a brand new release from First Second, a great graphic novel teaching about whales. What a shock with a title like that. So Science Comics, I'm going to talk about Science Comics in general in the big broad sense. So First Second is a great publisher of graphic novels. One of their lines is Science Comics. Now Science Comics are graphic novels that do exactly what the title says. It's about science, all sorts of different topics. So you can pretty much find a release of Science Comics to cover seems like any topic you can think of. I mean, just going off the back of this, dinosaurs, coral reefs, volcanoes, robots and drones, sharks, trees, polar bears, wild weather, solar system, cars. There's ones about dogs, cats, like all sorts of animals. It's really, really solid line of graphic novels. Very educational, very entertaining. And what I like about it is that, as an adult, I learn from them. I absolutely learn from them, and they are generally pretty solid for kids as well. I think they're a really good introduction to, at times, very difficult topics, and it doesn't dumb down the material at all. None of them have. In fact, sometimes things go over my head, and I have to read them multiple times to pick up on it. But there is a lot of it is also geared towards kids, so that they'll be entertained and learn stuff as well. Like, they might not understand everything, but they'll at least walk away having learned something. So it's a really interesting mix of education that it covers all levels. Like, it can get really complicated, or really simplified. Just depends on like how much you want to learn, how much you want to dive into it. So Whales is exactly about that. Whales. The perspective is a young whale is tagged by humans and discovers that it's a microphone trying to pick up on its signals, on its the songs and noises it makes, and decides it wants to create a podcast. And its podcast is going to be about other whales. So it goes throughout the ocean, throughout the world, to talk to other whales and learn about them. And it's everything from how do they eat, to their poop, to how do they swim, to how their body is kind of built, and the evolution of whales, how they came about. It's really educational, it's really entertaining, and what I thought was really interesting about it is how it's presented. I mean, it just dives into the material. A lot of these kind of have a setup of like a concept, and the concept is, leads into the material. Like, this concept is right into the material. It goes right into the sounds that whales make. And then kind of launches into the story itself. So weirdly, like when you start reading it, it almost feels like you kind of missed an introduction, if that makes sense. And then it goes from there. And I think the presentation is really interesting. Is that it does a great job of jumping from topic to topic, focus to focus, and doing so in a really kind of organic way. When it gets to a new type of whale, we learn more about that whale, and more about whales in general. Like, dolphins are part of the whale family. Who knew? I really actually didn't know that. I got to that book and said, you're full of it. This isn't true. And then, it's way smarter than me as far as facts, so I just kind of accepted it. And, you just learn all sorts of stuff. The difference between toothed whales and non-toothed whales, learned about how they are able to dive, how far they can dive, the interesting things of how they sleep. It's tons of stuff in there that I find fascinating. Like, you got to read it. It's packed full of information. I walked away smarter. Whether or not I'll remember any of it, that's a whole other thing. But like, reading it, I learned a lot. I realized there's so much I do not know about whales. I mean, I don't know a lot about whales, but it throws out there that I really don't know a lot about whales. And overall, I think that what's really solid at the end is it also talks about humans and our impacts on whales and how we affect them, and the evils we do, and that things need to change. So there's a good message towards the end of it as well, as far as the story. So I gotta give everyone involved with this massive props. This was a really, really well done, and it's a graphic novel that it just dives right into the facts, and it feels packed. Like, there is no filler here. It is packed with info. Whales, Diving into the Unknown. It's written by Casey Zakroff and art by Pat Lewis. It's really cool at the end as well, is that there is notes to help you work through some stuff, as well as further reading material, which I think is always great. I mean, this is just really cool. I mean, it's really, really, really cool. You know, it kind of ends a little bit on the down note as to humans' impact on whales, but I think it's a really important chapter, and I'm glad that it's in there. So, very educational. If you have a kid that's interested in whales, I would probably say like 10 and up seems to be pretty good, unless you have someone that's really, really into science. And then, of course, as adults, if you're an adult and want to learn more about whales, this is a great place to start. Out now, you can go get it. We got a link beneath our video. You can go get it in comic shops. The link, put in your zip code to all the comic shops near you. No shop, no problem. We also have some links where you can purchase. There'll be affiliate links, so we get a small percentage by doing that. You help support our site, so thank you. Speaking of support, I want to thank First Second for hooking us up with the review copy. We appreciate that. And, of course, thank you for watching. If you're into graphic novels, if you're into comics in general, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. Until next time, keep reading those comics, and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.